Unfortunately, does that just feel really familiar? Lots of good moments, lots of chances, more possession than Chelsea, but ultimately undone in a moment.
Yeah, it was the good things that we talk about before the game. We had some moments. We are improving the way we play football. We could press quite well, and we had some chances. But then one situation, and you can feel it, the same mistake that we suffer a goal, and then almost in the next play we open our defense for the second opportunity. So we are building something, but in the end you need to win games, and we have that lack of aggression in the final third. You can feel it, but we are improving.
So that urgency you wanted last week, particularly in the boxes, lacking again today?
Not so much. It was not so clear. We have our situations. We cross the ball. We have the second balls. So we were quite aggressive today. We need to be more aggressive because you can feel it that we have good build up until the last third, and then we miss something. But we need to work on that, but I think we face the competition in the right way today. We were competitive.
Sorry, is that an issue for the team? Just looking at the squad, you even look at the team on paper and you think it's one that's going to struggle to score goals. Is that something, when you talked last week about needing to be brave in the summer, is that the area, attacking areas? Do you need to add more goals to this team?
We'll not talk about the summer. The good thing is that in the Europa League we are scoring many goals. So now we are going to prepare the game for Europa League. Of course, we have to deal with a lot of things during the summer. But again, today we was a really good game to prepare also the final. Because if we put some players out and the feeling of the last game is there, almost 10 days without playing, for me I think would be a mistake. So I think was a good thing for them to play, to feel that they can do it. We can control the game, we can have possession, we can push the opponent. All these small things, I know for sure that the players are feeling in this moment. But in the end, in this club, in any club, you need to win, and we are not winning games.
Did you learn anything for the final, or do you just have a feeling that it was good at least that so many players got minutes?
No, I learn in every game. Yeah, I can understand. It helped me a lot to choose the starting 11 for the final, so we'll see.
Okay, and did everyone come through unscathed? I guess that would be the first question any Manchester United fan would ask you. Is everyone okay?
Yes, nothing to... of course, Luke and Mason was the guys that we need to take care of. The other guys are fine. We have 5 days, 2 days to rest, 2 days to prepare, one game in the next day, so we'll be ready.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ruben.
So, beaten tonight, but they're hoping they're all going to be fit and ready and firing, full of goals on Wednesday squad right now.
Yeah, it's the same interview that we've heard from the manager. He's obviously frustrated.
It's very difficult for him to
of course,
keep answering those same questions.
Absolutely, I'm not knocking him for that. I'm just making a point about it. We've heard it all before. They don't score enough goals. He talked about aggression. They've had one shot on target. No goal tonight. No goal against West Ham. He's talking about obviously Europe, but this was a league game. You got to focus on the league. You got to focus on the league. What we're talking about. Talks about what they can do in the final third, but that's the most important part of football. Obviously, you got to defend properly, and you got to be aggressive. Like when you look at the goal, if you want to analyse the goal, Garnacho just runs by him. James, he doesn't even tackle him. He doesn't be aggressive. So they have a problem, and they've got no striker. Hoyland tonight looked like the young kid for Chelsea. He looked like he's just come out of the academy. His runs weren't right, his timing, his hold-up play. Again, if you're a striker for playing for Man United, you walk up, you know how to... Again, even for the whole team, one shot on target. It's just...
But do you think he would be better with more quality around him?
Well, we keep making excuses for him. We talk about confidence, but you still think when you're a striker up there, you've got to make something happen sometimes. And what the big clubs have, and United have always had, strikers who can produce something by themselves, even if they're not getting great service. They produce something because they've got quality, they've got a bit of desire, determination, a bit of experience, football intelligence. We don't see that with Hoyland. So United are up against it all the time. Obviously, he needs a little bit of support, but my goodness, sometimes you've got to just do a bit better. I think he got a ball in the first half on the edge of the box, and he didn't even know he wasn't even in the right body position to take a shot, and he knocks it back. should be getting in on goal.
So we've talked about this this summer, and we've heard this language of being brave this summer from Ruben Amorim. If that means, you know, a big turnover of players, how many of this Manchester United group would you have a not for sale sign on?
Well, truthfully, well, obviously you'd have to be realistic. You're not going to get everyone of it. People like Bruno and listen, it's the ones just the ones.
Bruno or.
Well, Bruno's always on who springs to mind because obviously he's a brilliant player. But of course, there's a few you have to go on to. Just talk about Garnacho. You look at Maguire. We've got new players who come into the club. They need time to settle in. Obviously, the big decision on the goalkeeper. You need a world-class striker. But it's who comes in for these players.
So would you fight to keep some of these younger ones that have been talked about? Garnacho, Kobe Mainoo, Rasmus Højlund?
No, I wouldn't be. On them three, I wouldn't be hanging my hat on them three to get Man United. Mainoo comes on tonight. I watched him closely. He's strolling around the place. Some of his passes were sloppy. So when you're on about coming on the pitch, Garnacho is very kind of he's immature. He plays in little moments, but he doesn't do enough. Again, we spoke before the programme. You want players for the big clubs. You turn up week in, week out, and he doesn't do that. He's got a bit of talent. He makes some good runs, and he threatens him behind. And on his good day, you think, listen, I like what I see, but he's got too many bad days. And Højlund, in his defence, I think he should have probably been a backup striker, third or fourth choice, and learn his trade off 2 or 3 brilliant strikers. The fact when he came to the club that he was going to be the main man, he's not good enough. He's certainly obviously lacking in confidence and belief, and he's not surrounded by brilliance either. So there's the problems that we've spoken about United all season are still there. Now, if people think they can fix that in one summer, then it's not going to happen.
But is that the kind of bravery, the brave decisions that United need to make to start moving forward?
I mean, Euro's obviously not going to be sold. He's only just come to the club. I can't disagree with Roy. I just think pretty much every single player, there is a price on all of them. I think that just tells you where they are.
Because if they win on Wednesday night, they're going to have to be playing twice a week again.
I mean, they're
at a higher level.
Yeah, and they're going to have Champions League football. And right now, you'd look at that and you'd probably be nervous for that squad going into Champions League football because it's not all of a sudden going to become better overnight. It's not going to get better because they've got a bit more experience. So I think pretty much every single player, I think Jason Wilcox and all the CEO, the new CEO, they will look at it and go, if the offer's right, and then we can bring in somebody younger, better, we'll have to do it.
But what's the positive to these teams? Well, I've mentioned it before. You something watch certain teams and you hang your hat on something. You say they're really technically very good. They're fit. They're brilliant at Seppi. You look at United and go, they're not really good at anything. So this idea that they can do something this summer and bring in loads of special players if they don't win next week, I think the days of everyone wanting to go to Man United, no matter where they are, I think them days.
But how big would it be for this team, Enzo, at this stage of its development, to see this through, make Champions League, and obviously hopefully win a competition as well?
Yeah, but for me personally, the problem is that in general, people, you press, you still think that Chelsea is the same Chelsea that years ago. It's not the same. I can understand that people struggle to understand that, but once again, tonight, Jackson was suspended. We play with Tariq, 06 from the academy. And I said many times, years ago, I don't know, Drogba was injury, probably Diego Costa play, or Fernando Torres. This is completely different Chelsea. I can understand that people struggle to see that, but we are in the right direction. Hopefully we can bring the club where the club deserves to be, that is Champions League. We're going to try our best, and hopefully we can finish well.
Do you think also that the supporters expect old Chelsea, if that's the right way of putting it? And also, let's be honest, the club spent a lot of money and still spends a lot of money. And that's probably where the expectation comes from.
Yeah, for sure, yes. I don't think since I'm here that we are spending more money than other club. I think at least we are spending the same money. But it's just about building something. We are building something important. People have to trust us because we are in the right direction. The club is working well. And as I said, hopefully in the future we can also fight for important titles.
Well done tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Enzo.
But how important, Roy, do you think this is for their progress, Chelsea, Champions League football?
Huge. Obviously, feel-good factor, confidence for the players. And then it's when you come back pre-season, the fixtures come out and you see you're in the proper league with the Champions League and the games come up and the fixtures, the sponsors, the brand of the club and the belief in the players. When you're trying to, he said there, they're trying to build something. And he's given Man United credit, saying, "Oh, they played really well. Man United one shot on target." So you always felt if they got the first goal tonight, Chelsea would win it. But huge in terms of rebuilding the club. A lot of money was invested in a lot of young players, a lot of long-term contracts given out, and from to get in the Champions League, it'd be a
Different phone calls with players as well, Roy. Innit?
yeah,
You're
of course,
players,
yeah,
certainly getting
attracting
the Champions
players.
League,
It's the whole package.
Do you think it changes then the type of player that they target? Because as we know, they've been targeting the best young players in world football. Does this almost accelerate the project to the next level if they do make Champions League?
I think it certainly helps. I think there'll be some players that might just look at, even if Man United don't make Champions League, people still go to Manchester United because of the club and the enormity of it. So it doesn't always work like that. But there will be forwards that they're probably trying to get just to give a little bit of help to Jackson and maybe defenders that are probably just watching it carefully and thinking it can tip it certainly your way if you get Champions League football. You know, I think players now want to play. They hear the music. They want to be out there. They want to pit themselves against the best. And if Chelsea were to get there, it certainly makes it an easier conversation during negotiations.
Would you be tempted to change the age profile?
I think, I think you'd always try to add one or two experienced players to your group. I know the policy is trying to buy young players and obviously give them long-term contracts. And I always feel in the group, now if they slipped up and they'd missed out, you'd be going, they definitely need one or two experienced players. But if they get over the line in the next game and they do well in Europe, you're thinking, well, obviously the policy seems to be working. But you always feel over the course of the last few months, there was moments where they did lack maybe that experience, particularly in important positions like maybe a centre-half, just to help out along the way. But obviously what they're doing at the moment, they're getting their reward, particularly if they do get in that Champions League.
You're right, Roy is right. But they're going to get experience from this, whatever happens. You know, I look at Moises Caicedo. He's not necessarily an old player, but he's got plenty of football experience. You know, Cucurella's won the Euros. Levi Cole looks like he's getting more and more experience. I think the keeper is a situation where they'll need to address, certainly to challenge, or maybe even bring in a number one. It's never easy having a big decision like that, but I think it's one they have to do. They need someone that's going to challenge Jackson up front. I think people like Gyökeres, João Pedro are being mentioned, Ekitike. There's lots out there. Well, no, I'll take that back. There's not that many out there.
A lot of clubs are after.
A lot of clubs are after the same players. Delap's had a mention as well. So it's not going to be easy. So everyone's going to be looking. Manchester United probably looking for a striker. Arsenal looking for a striker. They're getting linked.
They want to play as well, all these strikers, don't
they? Exactly. But that's where I think you do look at Chelsea, and if they're in the Champions League, it makes it a lot easier for them. And the proposition is there. The club is going the right way. Lots of young players. I think if anything, like getting players in, but there's also one or two maybe that they might need to move on and balance the books in some kind of capacity, and then just make sure you're bringing extra quality just to make sure that they certainly get Champions League, and how quickly then you can start to challenge.
Yeah, and if they're trying to challenge, you can't have a young kid, starting a game. You need better than that. But also where the experience comes in is was it 3 or 4 weeks ago where the fans were kind of booing him here because of the goalkeeper they were playing. That's where you need a couple of lads to say, just keep the heads. Yeah. That's where you pass it on to the young players. Of course, you're always looking for quality and they're after the top striker. But I just think certain players who will just calm everyone down in certain situations. Having said that, they coped really well tonight in the second half with the expectations and the way they dealt with it, particularly in the last 10 or 15 minutes, the way they pressured United, their time and when to do it was a very kind of mature performance.
Manchester United beaten here tonight. That's now club record 8 without a win in the league. Ruben Amorim giving his response to that.